Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is presented by
Bell Tire.
It has been an inconsistent season for the Tigers, but two constants remain. First baseman Miguel Cabrera is still in the running for a triple crown, and Austin Jackson is making a strong bid for Rookie of the Year honors. He currently leads all rookies in hits and runs scored, and both Cabrera and Jackson will be on display tonight on what has turned out to be a nice night for baseball here in the Motor City. Welcome to Comerica Park. Game one in this series featuring the Tampa Bay Rays and your Detroit Tigers. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to Tigers Baseball. Mario and Pemba, Ron Allen, glad to have you with us for Game 1 of this series against the Rays. Both teams struggling, although the Tigers did win yesterday, Ron. It's been an up-and-down season for Detroit. One guy that does come to play every night, though, is Austin Jackson. What a rookie year he's had.
You know, when the Tigers made the deal to acquire Austin Jackson from the New York Yankees, everybody talked about the fact that this guy could really play defensively. But offensively, he has been better than advertised. He leads all rookies in hits, runs, batting average, and outfield assists. And he's also played a really nice defensive center field. As a matter of fact, had it not been for the 5 miscues he's made in the outfield, 3 of those are basically mental errors, we'd be talking about Austin Jackson possibly winning a Gold Glove. So he has made quite a splash, and he's been tremendous in his rookie campaign in the Tigers uniform.
And he's been in the lineup just about every day. Unlike Carlos Guillen, who's battled some injuries, but Carlos back in the lineup tonight. He's in the 5 slot right behind Cabrera. It's good to see him back in the lineup.
Well, when he's in the lineup and he's healthy, he contributes. And that's going to be the key for him next 7 weeks of the year. He has to stay healthy so he can really help this team out offensively, because they've really struggled the second half of the year.
All right, the Tigers and the Rays just moments away here in Game 1 of the series. In the meantime, we go back to the Call Sam studios. Now here's Ryan Field with more on our coverage. for the first of his 3-game series here against the Tigers. And if the Tigers combine for 3 or more home runs in this game, bring a copy of the box score to a participating Arby's location tomorrow and get a free small order of curly fries. Here is the Rays starting lineup tonight, presented by Honda Bloomfield. John Jaso will lead off. He'll do the catching tonight for the Rays, followed by Ben Zobrist and then Carl Crawford. Evan Longoria batting cleanup. He broke up the no-hitter yesterday in the 9th inning. Willie Ibar will DH, followed by Dan Johnson. And then you've got Matt Joyce, B.J. Upton, and Jason Bartlett rounding out the lineup for the Tampa Bay Rays. Little cloudy, little overcast. Temperature 79 at game time. And we are ready for baseball tonight. First pitch of the ball game from Galarraga, missing outside to John Jaso.
Not often you will have a catcher leading off for your club, but he's a high on-base percentage guy, and that's why he's leading off for Joe Maddon's squad here tonight, who has struggled to score runs.
John Jaso has a .386 on-base percentage. He has, however, had a rough month of August, only 3 for 16.
Their entire team has had a rough month of August.
And it's an offense that is without Carlos Pena right now with a bad foot. But this is a team that when you look at their offense, you wonder how in the world they could ever get no hit or even think about it. And it almost happened again to him yesterday.
It really did.
Joe Maddon's numbers, done a terrific job since taking over the Tampa Bay Rays. 1-2 as Galarraga deals home. For their last 5, you see what their numbers are in the 5-game losing streak. Not really good.
Not good at all. 3 of those losses came to the Minnesota Twins and 2 to the Toronto Blue Jays.
Well, they have been relying on their pitching, and they have David Price going tonight. There's a drive down the right field line. Fair ball is going to go to the corner. And extra bases for John Jaso. He will head to second base, and he is in with a stand-up double. A quick start tonight for the Rays.
Batting second, the second baseman, number 18, Ben Zobrist.
Here's the scouting reports on Armando Galarraga, presented by Ace Hardware.
Well, one of the things the Tigers are looking for from Galarraga the next several weeks is to finish strong. He needs to just pitch some real good baseball the remainder of the season, every 5th day, give them a legitimate chance of winning. And he's looking to snap a little bit of a streak himself. He has not won in his last 3 outings.
So Galarraga now will face Ben Zobrist, who's batting in the 2 slot for Tampa Bay. And talking with Jim Leland before the game today, he said really he thinks that the problem for Galarraga is that he does not trust his stuff, and in fact has had 2 or 3 conversations with him about not pitching as defensively as he has been in his last couple of starts.
That's a good analogy.
And maybe we'll see more of that here tonight. Galarraga did agree with his skipper. And by pitching defensively, kind of nibbling around the corners, aiming the baseball. We've seen a lot of that out of Armando.
Well, like he's doing right now. 2 balls, no strikes. It's not a count that you can pitch in and win, especially against the Rays, even though they are struggling right now as a club offensively.
Skipper's going to the sunflower seeds early tonight. Here's the 2-0. 3 balls and no strikes on Zobrist.
It would be a Marlboro, but he can't light up here at Comerica Park any longer. That's what he really wanted to grab.
See, that's the good thing about this partnership. You say the stuff I'm too afraid to say. 3-0 on Zobrist. And there's a strike call. Tim McClelland is our home plate umpire tonight, so we need to wait another beat or 2. That is how McClelland calls balls and strikes. He takes a good long look. Tim's been around a long, long time.
Baseball players have rated him as the best ball and strike calling umpire in the major leagues. So he is well respected.
3 balls, 2 strikes.
And maybe it's because he takes a little longer look at the strikes and balls.
Could be.
Not good for the play-by-play guys.
No, terrible actually. But that's okay. We don't matter. In his 28th season in the big leagues, Tim McClelland. Now time call. Galarraga has to have a little chat here with his catcher Gerald Laird.
Well, so far so good for Joe Madden, putting Jaso, the catcher, in that leadoff spot with the good on-base percentage. He's standing on second. Zobrist also batting right now is a good on-base percentage guy, and he's trying to create a little traffic on the base pass for Crawford and Longoria.
Zobrist is only 2 for his last 17. He's being bothered by a bad back. In fact, he had a stiff back, which kept him out of a couple of games recently. 3-2 pitch. Bouncing ball hit to the right side. Cabrera's coming to third with it, and he is safe. Inge was not even on the bag when Cabrera threw that ball.
If Cabby could do that all over again, he would simply take the out at first base because he was playing deep. He was about 5 steps in back of third base, and he just kind of lobbed it over there. Not a real firm throw by Cabrera. And Jaso able to slide in past the swiping tag of Brandon, but that's a play where you just got to make sure you get the one out. And it looked like he might have got him on that left shoulder before the left hand got in the bag.
That was closer than I thought it was. But the safe call was given. And so now something brewing here for Tampa Bay. They have runners at first and third for Carl Crawford. He's batting .299. And he pops this one in the air. Shallow left field. Frazier is under it. Runner is tagging. Jaso is coming home. And the throw to the plate is in time for the out. Jeff Frazier cuts down John Jaso. What a throw. I was wondering if that was deep enough. Apparently it wasn't.
For you kids at home, he did it perfectly. It's a nice tag up here by Jaso, but in the outfield, if you're Frazier, he got behind the ball. He got all his momentum carrying him back toward the throw. Look at him here. He's behind it. Now all of his momentum carrying him back toward the infield, and he unleashes a very good one-hop throw and a very nice tag by Gerald Laird.
Well, what a big early play in this game. It keeps a run off the board, and potentially a big inning perhaps will fizzle. We'll wait and see. The Tigers get their first outfield assist from Frazier and the 29th as a team, which leads the American League.
Longoria has been cold. Last 11 games, he is under 200. And really, he was kind of cold when we were there a couple of weeks ago, other than the one game where I think he got 3 hits. They pretty much slowed him down.
And he's been trying to figure out what the difference is between this year and last year. And one of the things you can point to, the numbers from the hitters behind him. They haven't been really very productive, and that probably has taken its toll on him. Maybe pitching around him a little bit more. Longoria has said that I've been extending the strike zone a little bit too much.
Well, that's something that young players go through. And although Longoria's made a couple of all-star teams, he is still a very young player, but very, very talented. Very talented.
There are the numbers in the last 4. Here's the 1-2.
I read a comment that Longoria had on Brandon Morrow, who threw the one-hitter against them yesterday. Of course, Longoria got the 1 base hit. He said it was the best stuff he'd ever seen. That's how good Morrow was of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Did he have 17 strikeouts?
17 strikeouts. Going into the game, his career high was 9.
Wow. Pretty amazing stuff. Really on several accounts when you consider Tampa was on the verge of being no hit again, and the fact that Morrow struck out 17 in that game. 2-2 on Evan Longoria. Waiting on deck, Willie Ibar.
Zobrist with 22 steals. He's only been caught twice. It's a 2-2 count. It's a good running count, but Galarraga is one of those pitchers who is very, very difficult to run on. Looked like Zobrist was leaning towards second base. That's one thing about Tampa's club. If they're not hitting, if they can get a walk or two with the rabbits that they have that patrol the base paths, you would think they would still be able to manufacture some runs. I don't think this team would go into 5-game losing streaks.
Well, that is one of the strengths of their team, balance, power, speed. But they are in a 5-game funk right now as they try and keep pace with the Yankees in the American League East. Here's the 2-2. Tap foul.
As a catcher and as a pitching coach and a manager, you have to love the fact that Galarraga shuts down the running game.
Well, it tends to slow down the game, that's for sure, but it gets the job done. Zobrist at first base with 2 outs. Longoria waiting patiently.
A good slider right here will get a swing and miss from Longoria. It's got to be located well, though.
Pitch inside, runner goes, throw down, and the tag.
That's foolish. You can't run.
Caught stealing is Zobrist. And the Tigers playing some defense here in the first inning. It all started with a great throw from Jeff Frazier in left, cutting down a run at the plate. First inning by throwing a runner out at the plate. Here's the Tigers starting lineup presented by Big Boy tonight. Austin Jackson, Ramon Santiago, and Ryan Rayburn are at the top. Miguel Cabrera is at first base. Guillen is back in the lineup. Here are his numbers against Tampa as a Tiger, followed by Johnny Peralta, Brandon Inge, Jeff Frazier, and Gerald Laird. The Bernstein advantage brings you the scouting report on David Price. Get the Bernstein advantage. We go to bat for you.
Yeah, David Price has got an overpowering fastball. And as a matter of fact, 75% of his pitches will be fastballs here tonight. He overpowers the opposition. He is looking to become the first Ray to win 15 games in a season. And, of course, when you start to put up great numbers like he has, 14 wins, 5 losses, you'll start your first All-Star game.
Well, here's Austin Jackson starting things off. Jackson hitting .307. Just 2 hits this year against Rays pitching, though. 1 ball, 1 strike. Jackson has hit safely in 31 of his last 37 games. 16 stolen bases, a well-rounded year. He's played some very good defense, hitting for average. And it's fouled behind home plate. 1-2. Jaso, the catcher for David Price tonight. Price in search of his 15th win.
Price, along with that mid-90s fastball, also taught himself a curveball in the offseason. It's become a really good pitch for him. It's a lot slower, obviously, than his fastball, and really gives him a nice change of pace when going up against the left-handers or the right-handers. He also has a slider and a changeup that he will feature on occasion.
Threw that one right by him at 97, a cool 97 miles an hour.
He is just getting loose, and it is some easy gas. Let's take a look at the defensive alignment behind David Price in this game. You've got some speed in the outfield with Crawford and Upton. Joyce is playing in right. The infield third to first reads Longoria, Bartlett, Zobrist, Johnson. John Jaso is the catcher, handling David Price here tonight.
Here's Santiago. He is the Tiger DH. Batting in the 2 slot this evening. Santiago, as most of these Tigers, not a whole lot of at-bats against Price in their career, but Ramon, in a very brief sampling, is 2 for 4 against him. One ball, one strike on Santiago. Tiger bats came alive yesterday against the Angels as they beat Los Angeles in the final game of the series. It's chopped toward third, foul.
There's that slow curveball. When you have a differential of 17 miles per hour with the fastball at 96 and the breaking ball at 80, you're going to get some hitters off balance. It's got some real nice depth to it as well. He taught himself that pitch, they said.
There's a strike called, and it got him looking. Santiago is out of there.
Well, it looks like Price is coming out tonight against the Tigers the same way that he did when the team was down in Tampa, down in Florida. He was overpowering with his fastballs, and the majority of his pitches were well-located fastballs, down and away from the righties, down and away from the lefties. He would climb the ladder to get people to chase, and then he went to some softer stuff a little bit later on in the game. This young man has a bright, bright future and is one of the best left-handers in the game of baseball today.
Here's Ryan Rayburn with 2 outs. The thing about Price is, and again, there he is at 97 miles an hour. How many guys do you see coming from that side throwing 97? Very few.
Joe Madden, the manager last year, actually tried to get him to back off a little bit as far as that fastball was concerned because he wasn't commanding it very well. So he kind of recommended, okay, why don't you live at 93, 94, then go to 97 when you need to. Price tried that for a little while, didn't work. So he went back to being who he is, and that's throwing that cheese up there.
There's a base hit to left off the bat of Ryan Rayburn.
He did Ryan a favor, but every now and then you still have to hit those favors. It's a hanging breaking ball that Rayburn still gets out in front of, but he's still able to get a base hit. Looks like that breaking ball is knuckle curve variety, and as soon as he threw it, he knew it. He was talking to himself as soon as he let that pitch go.
So that's going to keep the inning going now for Cabrera. 3 for 12 with a home run this year against the Rays. It has been a slow homestand for Miguel. 4 for 20. There is strike one. For 7 with 4 strikeouts against David Price. This has been a tough matchup so far. That's low. 1 ball, 1 strike. That last one at 98.
Yeah, the big fella will cause you to reach back and get a little extra.
Make it 1 and 2. Price is trying to establish a Rays franchise record for victories in a season. He's at 14 right now. 15 would be their highest ever. They have a couple of guys that have won 14 in their past. James Shields, Edwin Jackson, and Orlando Arrojo. He was around when the team first came into existence, Arrojo, back in the late 90s.
Just to give you an idea of the kind of pitcher that Price is, the major league average is about 60% fastballs. He is in 75% range as far as the fastballs that he throws. So he is well above the major league average in throwing fastballs to the plate.
Missed with that fastball 2-2. Price is out of Nashville, Tennessee, only 24 years old. He stands 6 feet 6 inches tall.
I wonder if he likes country music.
There's a pretty good chance. I don't think you could live in Nashville and not like country music. He's fouled straight back.
A little emergency hack there by Cabrera. With that fastball that Price is throwing, really, you can't afford to take a big swing. 21 starts, 14-5. Sub-3 ERA in his division. The American League East. You got to see Boston. You got to see the Yankees a bunch of times. He's legit.
Rayburn reaching on a 2-out single. Ryan, by the way, hits in 3 of his last 4 at bats.
Price has already thrown over the first base on a couple of different occasions, but Rayburn is one guy that usually doesn't run.
Just missed the outside corner again at 98. 3-2, so that means Rayburn will be on the move here. On deck, Carlos Guillen waiting his first at bat. He's coming off the disabled list. is hit on the ground to short. Ranging right is Bartlett. Cabrera is out. No runs to hit. One man left. We go to the second.
Called by the official scorekeeper in Toronto, Aaron Hill, the second baseman. On the final play of the game, it was a little dribbler off his glove into right field, ruled a base hit.
Tough way to lose a no-hitter. But Longoria picked up their first hit late in that game, and he rolls one foul to third base.
Morrow, I was listening to him after the game. He said, well, I didn't get the no-hitter, but I got my first complete game win and also shutout. So he was still happy with the outcome of that baseball game last year. They're very talented starting pitcher. Speaking of Morrow, who came from the Seattle Mariners, did you see they cleaned house in Seattle today?
They did. Don Wakamatsu fired today. They fire his coaches too?
They fired two of them. They fired Van Berkeley, and they also fired Rick Adair, the pitching coach. Man, oh man.
Boy, what a difference just one season can make. That's lifted in the air. Right field. Rayburn just about on his tracks. One gone.
Well, you know Rayburn is playing right field. Let's take a look at the rest of the defense presented by Beaumont Hospital. Frazier's already made an outstanding throw from left field. He's in left, obviously. Jackson in center. Inge, Peralta, Guillen, Cabrera. G-Money behind the dish. And by now, you know Galarraga is on the bump.
Willie Ibar, the batter. Just saw his brother Eric with the Angels here the last 3 days. Ibar batting .247. 1 for 10 this year against Tigers pitching. And he pulls this one right at Cabrera. 2 gone. By the way, this game tonight is available in crystal clear high definition on Fox Sports Detroit HD. It's sponsored by Comcast. Looks like the clouds are still here, but no rain, and that's the good news. Pleasant temps tonight, 79 at game time. Had some rain come through here a little bit earlier, but nothing really heavy. Here's Dan Johnson, who is absolutely tearing it up at AAA Durham. So much so that he was hitting 30 homers and 95 RBIs before he was called up. Former Oakland Athletic.
Well, they've been looking for a bat, and when we were there a couple of weeks ago before the trade deadline, they were inquiring about a possible big bat coming from another team. They might have that big bat in Johnson.
Hit hard right at Cabrera. He'll flip to the pitcher covering a 7-pitch inning. 1, 2, 3 they go. Tigers baseball tonight is presented by Bell Tire. Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is brought to you by Comerica Bank. Strength and stability since 1849. And by Comcast. Call 1-800-COMCAST for TV, phone, and internet. Back here in downtown Detroit, glad to have you with us tonight in a scoreless game. We go to the bottom of the second. The Tigers will send Carlos Guillen to the plate. And he'll be followed by Johnny Peralta and Brandon Inge. David Price back to work. First pitch, fastball, strike. First at bat for Carlos Guillen. This is going on the DL on the 25th of July. Sprained calf.
David Price is a young kid, but he's an old school kind of guy. Overpowering with that fastball, and he just continues to throw that number one.
Checked it. Didn't go around down there at first. Andy Fletcher said he held up. 1-2 on Guillen. Carlos at 280. Hits in 4 straight before he went on the DL. And he takes outside 2-2. Price was the first overall pick in the 2007 draft. Had a big second half last year. In fact, had big wins over C.C. Sabathia and Roy Halladay. He's run it full now, 3-2. Peralta waiting on deck. And he lost it, ball 4, so he was ahead of Guillen and ends up walking him.
Hey fans, check out the Tigers' new Rockin' 7-game ticket package. Pick 7 games and get a free concert ticket at Soundboard inside the Motor City Casino. For tickets, call 313-471-BALL or visit tigers.com.
Yeah, that Soundboard's a cool place.
It's real nice in there.
Check that out. Here's Johnny Peralta. Tigers have the leadoff man on here in the second, and Peralta hammers it foul back out of play. Johnny, for his career, has really torn up Tampa pitching. 335 lifetime with 10 homers. He's hit 9 home runs overall this year. In fact, he hit a couple in Boston in his first game wearing the Old English D. That's in foul ground, right field line, long run, and unable to make the play. Matt Joyce looked like he was going to get there. Slowed up right at the end, but couldn't get it. Well, they've had a lot of first-round picks, and the Rays, after all the struggles they went through when they first joined the league, and they've made good on a few of those.
Well, when you're picking as high as they have picked, 2 and 4 and 3, you mentioned Price, number 1 overall. And when you pay these guys that kind of money, it's nice to get a nice return on your investment. They've gotten that already from these young kids.
And I guess there's always a certain amount of pressure that goes with your first round pick, regardless of what organization you are, because you don't want to select a guy and give him a ton of money and then not have it work out.
Looks like the guys that they selected were just really impact players in college, almost can't miss kind of guys. But you never know until you get into professional baseball.
That'll get away from the catcher, advance the runner. Carlos Guillen gets down to second base.
That's pretty much what the Tigers are going to have to do here today. They're going to have to play a little bit of small ball against Price. He's one of those guys that's not going to give you 3 and 4 hits in any one inning. That's a fastball that just kind of scoots right through the legs of the catcher, Jaso. And a good read by Guillen, able to get down to second without a throw. Usually you don't ask your hitter to try to move that guy to third base after he's already gotten 2 strikes on him. But you might want to try to do so now if you're Peralta, or drive him in. Because Price is not going to give up a whole lot.
They've ruled that a pass ball on Jaso. Peralta on this homestand just 4 for 28. RBI chance here. And the 2-2. And this one gets away as well, but not far enough.
What a block by Jason. That is a difficult block. But look at him shift his body and to get over in front of this breaking ball, and it lands softly off the chest protector and falls 3 feet to his left. Guillen could not advance.
Three and two on Peralta. And he walked him. So back-to-back base on balls. Tigers have something going now.
If there is one Achilles heel to David Price, it's the base on balls. 55 total and 140 innings coming in. And Jim Hickey, the pitching coach, doesn't appreciate those base on balls.
Price walked only 2 in his last start against the Tigers back on July the 29th in St. Pete. And he's walked 2 already here. He also had 9 strikeouts in that game against the Tigers.
Well, if Inge is up there bunting, this is a tough guy to bunt against. The Rays on the corners with Johnson and Longoria are thinking bunt because both are playing in front of the first base bag. But Inge is the guy that he doesn't sacrifice all that often.
In fact, he has 0 this year. 1 ball to no strikes. Make it 1-1 on Brandon.
A lot of times you have to take into account who's hitting behind Inge in this situation. It would be Frazier. Frazier hitting at 200. Brandon hitting at 258.
Price has thrown 32 pitches in this game, 17 strikes, 15 balls. 1-2 on in. So he's not come out very sharp, although he did strike out Jackson and Santiago, the very first 2 batters he faced.
We'll follow this throughout the game regarding David Price. 90% of his pitches so far have been fastballs to Tigers hitters.
There's another one.
When you throw as hard as he throws, you can throw the raw ball right down the middle.
Yeah.
He is picking on the edges. He's trying to go inside. He's trying to go outside. But it is very tough to hit a fastball that's reaching 100 miles an hour, even if it's right down the middle.
Swing at a tip into the glove. And Brandon is out of there. 3rd strikeout for Price. The thing about his fastball is it just seems so easy and smooth.
Explosive. They call it easy gas.
That'll bring up Frazier. Frazier 2 out of 9 on the homestand. Picked up his first big league hit in Boston after he was called up against Daisuke Matsusaka.
Carlos Guillen at second base looks like to me like he's entertaining the thought of trying to steal third. Bartlett, the shortstop. Zobrist, the second baseman. They're not really playing all that close to Carlos. And Carlos, when healthy, pretty good base running instincts. And you pretty much have to do what you have to do to try to score a run here against Price. Price thinking along those same lines.
Looked like it.
Well, Carlos kind of gave it away after that last delivery. It looked like he was a little jumpy out there, and they picked up on that. That's what good big league coaches do, that watch the base runners.
One ball, 1 strike. Price continues to pump in fastball after fastball. Frazier is 4 for 20 to start his major league career.
Ooh,
there's a bender.
Good one, too. Backdoor variety at 80 miles an hour. This ball started off the plate. Frazier gave up on it, and it landed very softly in Jaso's glove. And boy, did Jaso give McClellan a real nice long look at it.
Swing and a miss. Another strikeout for Price as he begins to pitch his way out of this jam. That's his 4th of the game. We'll bring up Gerald Laird. Laird hitless this year against the Rays pitching staff, 0 for 6.
Any of the left-handers that we have seen in baseball this year that is a starting pitcher, there is none that comes to mind that has the same kind of explosive fastball that Price has. Maybe a couple out of the bullpen. Matt Thornton comes to mind. Billy Wagner of the Atlanta Braves comes to mind. But for starting pitchers, he throws harder than CC Sabathia.
Yeah, that was the only guy I was probably going to bring up, but CC doesn't throw 99, does he?
Nope.
Here's the 1-0.
Whew. And if you're the Tigers, you pretty much know what you're going to get. It is not like it's a secret, but it is very difficult to hit fastballs in this range. But somehow, some way, they have to figure a way out.
It's almost against a guy that has stuff like this where you have to go to the plate with a two-strike approach from the get-go.
Good point. It's a good point. It's a great point, as a matter of fact. Because really all you have to do is touch it. He'll supply all the power.
Tigers, the first time they faced him this year, managed 7 hits and a couple of runs against Price. It's fouled away. Now 2-2 on Laird. Well, here are some of the best so far in the American League, and certainly a lot of Cy Young candidates that we could zero in on, and Price would be near the top of that list.
Yes, he would be. Unfortunately for Sabathia, he does not get near the credit he deserves because of where he plays and the offense that he has behind him. And Pavano has had a tremendous year himself.
Hey, there's a base hit to left center, maybe more. It's going to split the gap. Over there to cut it off is Upton. 1 run is in, and they will hold Peralta at third base. Double and an RBI for Gerald Laird. 1-0. There's a big hit.
It's almost like that two-strike approach you were talking about. When a guy is throwing 98 miles an hour, really all you have to do is drop the bat head into the strike zone, and that's exactly what Laird does. He drops the bat head right in the strike zone. He makes real good contact, and he rips a ball into the outfield, and only the speed of B.J. Upton prevents Peralta from scoring. So a really nice base hit.
Gerald Laird safe at second base, safe and secure, New York life. Meanwhile, here is Jackson now. The Tigers have taken a 1-0 lead. Now the 17th RBI of the year for Laird. Austin struck out in the first. Tigers putting together a couple of walks and a 2-out 2-base hit to get a run. And this is something the Tigers haven't done a whole lot of in this homestand. This is just the second time in 8 games on this homestand that the Tigers have scored first. They typically have had to dig out of a hole.
And Jackson struck out his first time up. It was a fastball that was up and out of the strike zone. So you want to make sure you get a fastball down. You got it.
And down he goes. 5 strikeouts for David Price. Tigers take the lead on Gerald Laird's RBI double.
262-2010 or visit DetroitLions.com.
Back here at the ballpark, the Tigers have a 1-0 lead. The RBI double by Gerald Laird, and now Galarraga back to the hill. They'll face the bottom three in Tampa's lineup. First of three between these two teams, and then the Tigers hit the road. They'll be going to Chicago and then the Big Apple.
Nice trip coming up.
Yeah. Spent a lot of money in those two cities.
Oh, yeah. Bring your credit card.
Got to be careful.
They got to double our meal money when we go on trips like that.
I'm all for that. You let me know how that works out. Call the boss after the game. Let me know. Here's Matt Joyce. You bring up a valid point, though, because when you go to both of those cities, it is expensive.
Cost you $20 just to walk down the street.
That's right. Matt Joyce hitting just .204. A former Tiger.
And Matt Joyce had a real nice series against the Tigers when we were down there. So did Carlos Pena. Yeah, but he's on the disabled list.
Former Tigers with Tampa now. Gabe Kapler is in that group as well. That thing is hit high and hit deep to right field, way back, and Matt Joyce has homered again against the Tigers.
Why is he picking on us?
He hit that thing a mile. So Joyce, who hit the slam off Scherzer in St. Pete, hits a mammoth shot here. Yeah, maybe he's making a point.
He was 0 for his last 18, as you mentioned, with 10 strikeouts.
That thing was hit really high.
I was hoping it would go foul.
Almost ran into Bell Tire down there. Here's B.J. Upton. 1-1 ball game. Upton hits one high in the air to right. Rayburn. And foul ground. That's the first out of the inning. He's going to bring up Jason Bartlett. They tell us the official measurement of that home run, 415 feet. Bartlett at 238. Not having near the season he was having or had last year. Missed some games this year on the DL with a bad hamstring. The 1-0. Just inside, 2 balls, no strikes. Last year at this time, Bartlett was hitting .336, just about 100 points higher. That's a big dip. Good player, though. Good shortstop. They got him from the Twins. Galarraga throws a strike with a breaking ball, 2-2. Leadoff home run by Joyce has tied this game 1-1. Full count 3-2 on Bartlett. John Jaso waiting on deck.
Jaso doesn't have the body type of a catcher.
No. Way inside, he walked him. 1 out, base on balls. And that'll bring up Jaso now.
Joe Madden said he would be aggressive today with his base stealers, and Bartlett is a base stealer. He has 9. He's been caught 3 times with Galarraga on the mound. As we watched earlier, Zobrist was nabbed trying to steal second base. Didn't have a good jump. Zobrist still tried to steal the base, and Laird was able to gun him down at second. We'll see what Bartlett's thinking here.
Gerald Laird has cut down 19 would-be base stealers this year. 1-0 on Jaso.
A little tougher when you got that left-handed batter in the batter's box. However, you really can't see that base runner take off out of the corner of your eye, as you can see when there's a right-handed batter standing in that batter's box if you're the catcher.
Runner goes. Ground ball back up the middle into center field. Base hit. Stumbling around the bag at second, Bartlett, but he recovers and gets to third.
Well, Joe said he was going to move some guys around today because their offense has not been very good. And realizing that you can't steal with Galarraga on the mound, he puts on the hit and run, and Jaso has 2 hits already today, right back up the middle.
Third overall now for Tampa Bay. That's going to bring up Ben Zobrist.
Kind of early to be thinking about a squeeze, but as we have watched Joe Madden, very unconventional and a type manager, he will do certain things in certain situations where you wouldn't think that he would do it. But Jim Leland more than likely is thinking right along with Joe Madden as far as possible squeeze.
Zobrist is 2 for his last 18. And he is taking strike 1. Last year when Zobrist was hitting 27 home runs and having an all-star year, Joe Madden hung a nickname on him. He started calling him Zorilla. And even though he is not hitting as many home runs this year, the nickname has stuck. So he's still Zorilla.
Well, they fired Steve Henderson, their longtime hitting coach, after last year. Derek Shelton is now their new hitting coach in Tampa, and Derek does nice work. He did nice work in Cleveland before getting his gig down in Tampa, but obviously this offense is struggling this year. Sometimes it's not the coach.
High fly ball center field. Tagging is Bartlett at third. This will be deep enough to score the run. Throw comes back into second base. Zobrist gets an RBI with a sacrifice fly, and the Rays come right back and take the lead 2-1. Well, don't forget, you can vote for your Tigers McDonald's player of the game tonight using your cell phone. Text Tigers followed by a space in the player's uniform number to 37338. That's FSDET. See the final results post-game during Tigers Live. Here's Carl Crawford.
Base on balls costly in this inning for Galarraga.
That was Bartlett, and he has come around to score. Crawford 0 for 1 with the fly ball.
Crawford had a couple of days off in Toronto. Joe Madden said nothing was the matter with him. He did play yesterday in the near no-hitter by Brandon Morrow, but he had a couple of days off prior to that, Friday and Saturday. Joe Madden said, we just got to refresh in his body. This guy plays real hard. No injuries, but he just needed a little bit of a breather.
Gerald Laird had his bell rung there. I think the backswing from Crawford caught him.
Crawford also told me when we were in Tampa that, that hurts. That turf really wears your body down. Your body aches everywhere if you play on that turf every single day.
You know what they termed it? They said he missed 2 games with general soreness, which I guess is a nice way to say, yep, the turf will catch up with you.
Well, it's good for Joe Madden to understand that they play on turf every single day. Then they leave their home and they go play on artificial surface again. So he just had to refreshen his star's body.
Boy, they're going to need him down the stretch.
General soreness. I've never heard that.
Either have I. That was the official word, general soreness, which covers, I guess, head to toe.
I got some general soreness too.
Right to the first baseman, and Cabrera tags the bag for the out. So they get 2 runs. We go to the bottom of the third, 2-1. With the nation's fastest mobile broadband network, AT&T, rethink possible. And by Jaguar, visit your local Jaguar dealer to experience the 2011 Jaguar XJ. Back here at Comerica Park, Tigers down by 1 now as we head to the bottom of the third here at the ballpark. And Matt Joyce has done it again. His home run leading the comeback for Tampa Bay. Former Tiger outfielder.
0 for his last 18 with 10 strikeouts before that home run.
That was his 6th of the year overall, 2 of them against Detroit. Santiago fouls one back as he leads off the bottom of the third.
His other 5 home runs have come with 2 outs, but that one was the leadoff home run of the third inning.
Rayburn to follow, and then Cabrera. Another foul back out of play, 0-2 on Ramon. David Price had a little bit of trouble in the second. He walked the first 2 batters he faced, and then he struck out the next 2, but Gerald Laird got him for an RBI double.
Against a guy like Price, what you want to do is drive the pitch count up and make him throw as many pitches early as possible to see if you can get him out of the game. He's in that 50-pitch range already here tonight. Although the Rays have a real good bullpen, they're not better than this guy.
Again, back out of play. Well, they stressed him out a little bit in the second inning with all the base on balls. But he's looking for a quick third here to get his pitch count back in order. He led the Rays last year with 7 second-half victories. Now the 1-2. In the air to right field, Joyce for the out, 1 away. Time for a game break now. We go back to the studio, and here is Ryan Field.
The right fielder, Ryan Rayburn.
Thank you, Ryan.
The way that Baltimore is playing these days under their new manager, Buck Showalter, they're going to have something to say about who wins the division.
Apparently so. Have they lost yet under him?
Once.
One time?
5-1.
Ryan Rayburn 1 for 1 singled in the first. Fouled it straight back. We'll run the count to 0-2. Rayburn now 4 hits on the homestand. Batting third again in the lineup today, right ahead of Cabrera.
Got a hanging breaking ball the last time up and hit a single into left field. I don't think he'll get another hanging breaking ball from Price here today.
There's that heater missing.
Once he learns how to really command his fastball, the sky will be the limit for David Price. I don't know if I would qualify, even though he has 14 wins, I don't know if I would qualify him as a pitcher yet.
Relying on that overpowering heat.
Yeah, I think more of a thrower. He hasn't commanded it very well. I'm sure he's had better games control-wise than he has here today, but once he learns how to really command that fastball in the strike zone, this guy's going to be tough to beat.
1-2. High fly ball, left field, hit well. On the move is Crawford back to the warning track in front of the wall. Rayburn almost got it.
Well, if you're Cabrera, you pretty much know what you're going to get against Price. You are 0 for 8 against him with 4 strikeouts, and he has pretty much thrown you a lot of fastballs, and he's thrown 87% fastballs here today. 12% would be the breaking ball. I don't remember seeing any changeup from Price just yet.
Would you say the average was typically for fastballs?
59%.
Really?
In a game.
And he's at 87?
Today he's at 87. His average is about 75% fastballs in any game.
So he's still well above the average.
Well above the average.
Cabrera grounded out his first time up. Swings right through it, 1-1.
Ooh, here it is, hit it.
Miguel's last RBI was August 1st. The 1-1 pitch is high and away, 2-1.
You know, people always talk about who's going to hit behind Cabrera. But how about Magglio Ordonez, who was hitting in front of Cabrera? Since Maglio's gone down with his injury, Cabrera's driven in 7 runs, and that was back on July 24th.
Well, Maglio, however you felt about him, even in his struggles last year, was a really good table setter.
Well, you get an idea of just what it means to have that legitimate number 3 hitter hitting in front of a big guy like Cabrera, who doesn't have to do all the heavy lifting.
3-1 pitch. He walked him. 3 base on balls for David Price. He's going to keep it going now for Guillen. 2-1 Tampa. We're in the bottom of the 3rd inning tonight. So far, one of the 3 walks given up by Price has come around to score, and that was Guillen, who walked to lead off the 2nd. Breaking ball misses high. 1-0.
It's a tough league. Didn't Rhymes get 3 hits yesterday?
And he was sent down.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough league. Rhymes will be back, though. He played well while he was here. Maybe when the rosters expand.
He had a couple of really big 2-out hits in that game yesterday. A much needed win for the Tigers, who beat the Angels and avoided the sweep.
He showed some tools while he was here. Good speed, obviously. Will Rhymes, but he also was pretty much flawless at second base. As a matter of fact, Tigers as a team the last couple of weeks have been pretty good defensively.
Rhymes, I guess, was what they told us he would be. A high-energy guy who was really a good hitter in the minor leagues, hit over 300. I think he acquitted himself pretty well here in his first go-round in the big leagues with the bat.
Nice table setter. He did not look overmatched. And that's what you look for as a manager, is which kids look overmatched. He wasn't that kid.
2-2 on Guillen. So Price continues to throw a lot of pitches.
Might be able to get him out of here by the 6th inning.
67 pitches already, and we're only in the 3rd. Swing and a miss. He just simply reaches back and throws it by Guillen. Another strikeout, his 6th of the evening. Tigers strand him in, and we go to the 4th. O'Hara's Lions training camp coverage now at FoxSportsDetroit.com. Who's a Lions fan? Taking in some Tigers baseball tonight. Right now it is 2-1 in favor of Tampa Bay as we go to the 4th inning. And Evan Longoria leads it off.
Fellow's all decked out. White pants and everything. He's matching.
And he can't wait for kickoff. Right around the corner. Longoria, and then Ibar, and then Johnson. Galarraga surrendered 2, one of them on a home run by Matt Joyce back in the 3rd. Longoria flied to right field back in the 2nd. Hits one back up the middle into center. That's his first hit today, and Tampa now with another hit on the board. Their 4th as a team.
And where does the Longoria rank in his first 389 games career-wise with some of the best that have ever played? These guys are Hall of Fame players.
Wow.
Look at those numbers for Longoria.
He's beating them all pretty good.
Yes, he is.
That's why the Rays locked him up very quickly when he got to the big leagues. Here is Ibar.
Yeah, he was only in the big leagues for a couple of days, and they locked him up for about 6 years.
Another 3-year option, 3 option years for Tampa on top of that.
Ooh. Now, obviously, he is going to outperform that contract.
No doubt.
If you're the Rays, do you go and revisit it? Or do you just kind of like, oh, well, this is, you signed it, and we gave you the money, and we'll just, kind of go from there?
It's a great question. I mean, certainly the Rays have to be feeling really good about that decision. And if you're Longoria, obviously you went for the security of getting that type of contract without really having proven yourself at the big league level. At that point, at least. I don't know. I would think the club would have to revisit it if he continues to put up those monster numbers. The 1-0.
Galarraga has to stay out of these types of counts, whether it be 1-0 or 1-1, because as we told you, Joe Madden has already said he's going to put some runners on the move. Longoria with 15 steals. He's been caught 3 times. I don't think they can steal here today against Galarraga, but if they get good counts to run in, he will force the hitter in putting the ball in play and see if he can get the Tigers infielders moving around a little bit. And here's that count again.
2-1 on Ibar, who lined one sharply to the first baseman. Cabrera, his first time up. Willie, the DH again today. He's made 45 starts at the designated hitter spot. His only 2 other starts have been at first base.
It's going to be tough for the Rays to get that bat that they were looking for. Whoever that big bat is would not make it through waivers to get to them. It would be impossible for them to get a big bat.
The 2-1. Swing and a miss. 2-2.
Good off-speed pitch.
Yeah, especially if it's a National League bat, because it goes through the National League first before it gets to the American League.
A little change up there by Galarraga. Located beautifully.
Two and 2 on Willie Ibar. Leadoff single by Longoria. 4th hit of the game for the Rays. Longoria this year 15 out of 18 in the stolen base column. And the 2-2 rolled foul first base side. Tigers got a run in the 2nd inning on the RBI double by Gerald Laird. The Rays answered with 2 in the 3rd. We were back in St. Pete first time these 2 teams met last week. Joe Madden was saying that exact same thing. We would love another bat for this lineup, but as we approach the end of this month, then obviously what you have is what you're going to have to bring into the playoffs if you make it. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Speaking of acquiring the bats, have you seen what Aubrey Huff's doing out there for the San Francisco Giants this year?
I sure have.
Where is that at last year?
I don't know. Tigers could really have used it.
I mean, we just needed one big hit from Aubrey.
Just one. Literally one.
Just one big hit.
Runner goes, and it's fouled back out of play. They had Longoria on the move. 3-2 with nobody out. See if Longoria goes again. He does not this time, and there's ball 4. Single and a walk to lead off the 4th.
Well, you know, Johnson is not up there bunting. So if you're Galarraga, your concentration needs to be on making one good quality pitch at the bottom of the strike zone to see if you can get the ground ball to aid yourself into getting out of this mess. I don't know if Longoria will try to do so here, but the Rays lead baseball in stealing third base. And they're not all bashful when they get a runner on second, so you have to play in their hip pocket when there's a base runner on second.
Here's Dan Johnson. Recently recalled from their AAA team in Durham. Pena going on the disabled list. He takes ball 1.
They miss Pena. Not only his offense, but they miss him defensively around that first base bag. Gold glove first baseman.
Johnson's a guy that had performed very well in the minor leagues. We told you that he was really doing well. 95 RBIs when he was called up, led all of the minor leagues. That's a lot of runs driven in. And that misses outside. 2 balls, no strikes.
Johnson may have hit one of the biggest home runs in Rays history. It was a couple of years ago. It was 2008 when they went to the World Series. It was off Jonathan Papelbon of the Boston Red Sox. It was a game winner. It was real late in the season. And that kind of catapulted the Rays into winning that division that year. It was one of the biggest hits in their history.
And you could easily say it was the biggest hit of that season for them. But Johnson is a guy that after that last year went to Japan to play. Two and 1 the count. And there's a strike. 2-2. I was reading some comments that Johnson had made in his time in Japan, and let's see if you would agree with this because you played there. He said that he is a lot better hitter against off-speed pitches now because when he went to Japan, they threw him nothing but off-speed pitches.
Well, I didn't get a lot of off-speed pitches over in Japan per se.
2-2 is outside.
But I understand where he's coming from because most of the American players that go over there, big and strong and physical, guys that have power, borderline major league AAA players that are hungry. And the Japanese players, they know you're aggressive. They know you're going to be looking to feast on fastballs. So if you're a guy that has trouble with breaking balls, they'll exploit that weakness. But I got quite a bit of fastballs, and I stayed there for 3 years, so I saw an assortment of everything. But I could see where he would get that kind of treatment. I wasn't a 30-homer minor league guy, though.
Yeah.
I was more like 15 to 18 with some doubles, average.
Well, Johnson hit 24 home runs in Japan last year, and his average, though, was low at only 215. He's got a 3-2 count here with nobody out. We're in the 4th inning. And the Rays already leading 2-1. And there is a walk to load the bases.
That's what Jim Leland was talking about in Galarraga and his inability to just attack the strike zone.
Well, in Galarraga, great. He's just hasn't been very aggressive, or as they say, trusting his stuff. He has nibbled, and that has cost him in this inning with a couple of walks. Tigers getting the bullpen going now.
Matt Joyce already has a couple of grand slams this year, one of which came against the Tigers. It was against Max Scherzer, who was pitching a no-hitter at the time. He also played long ball here today off Galarraga. That was his first hit in his last 19 at-bats.
Meanwhile, Brad Thomas now picks up a baseball. He'll begin to warm up. He's been bothered by a bad ankle recently, but has been able to play through it.
Yeah, I saw him in the clubhouse the other day. He had that thing all wrapped up.
There's a ball up high to Joyce.
Colorado's been living in some dangerous counts today.
And because of that now, he is in a lot of hot water here in the fourth. A single, 2 walks, nobody out. And Joyce drives one to deep center field. Jackson is on the run, still going back, edge of the track to make the catch. Longoria tags, he will score. Throw comes back into second base, and a sac fly and an RBI for Joyce.
Any other ballpark, the majority of the ballparks in the major leagues, and Joyce has got himself another grand slam. He clobbered this 1-0 fastball, and the speed of Jackson allowed him to get out and around that ball and surrounded it and get that ball back in a hurry. Usually Jackson is, we can see that number 14 when he was chasing balls that are over his head, but that time able to get out and around that one and surround it. That's the kind of speed AJ has.
A couple of RBIs for Joyce tonight, 22 for the year, and now it's a 3-1 ball game with runners at first and third. Here's B.J. Upton. He is showing bunt, squeeze, and it's bunted back to the screen.
Safety squeeze.
No balls, 1 strike on Upton, who flied to right field back in the third.
Safety squeeze is when the hitter gets the bunt down and then really the base runner takes off. Regular squeeze is the base runner takes off as soon as the pitcher delivers the ball.
One and one. First and third, 1 out, a run in. Upton has 6 RBIs in his last 6 games. He's driven in 41 this year. The average is low this season, 233. And there's a strike.
Let's take one more look at the first pitch to B.J. Upton. And the base runner on third base. He watches B.J. They've already talked about it. And if this ball goes on the ground, then Ibar obviously comes home. But that's why they call it a safety squeeze, because the hitter has to do his job first and foremost.
Here's the 1-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Upton.
Well, this team strikes out a lot, does the Tampa Rays, and Galarraga desperately needs a strikeout here.
Upton, along with Carl Crawford, the only 2 players in baseball that have at least 10 home runs and 30 steals. Upton has stolen 32 this year to go with his 10 homers. And the 2-2, and he's going to step out, given late time by Tim McClellan. McClellan didn't even throw the arms up. Here's the 2-2. Outside, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Two in the third, 1 here in the 4th inning. They have Bartlett waiting on deck. Swing and a miss, and Upton goes down on strikes. So he has fanned a lot this year, the 4th most in the American League, and that one comes in handy for Galarraga.
Well, that's why Joe Madden didn't send Johnson from first base. 881 strikeouts this year as a team coming into play today for the Tampa Bay Rays. The weekday value pack. You can get 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, 4 sodas, 4 chips for only $55. Call 866-TIGER, or you can visit tigers.com. It's a really good deal.
Here is Bartlett now with 2 outs. Wave and a miss, 0-1 on Bartlett. And Galarraga trying to dig himself out of this mess here. The 2 walks have set up a run. And Tampa now leading 3-1. Bartlett walked and scored back in the 3rd. One ball and 1 strike.
Is that surprising to you at all, with all the speed that this team has, that they come in leading the planet with 881 strikeouts?
Yeah, it is a little bit shocking. I mean, that's a ton.
It doesn't equate.
No.
It doesn't equate.
Here are numbers that don't equate either. A year ago today, Bartlett was batting .334 with 10 homers.
Well, there was a lot of people this time last year that were kicking Delman Young to the curb because of the deal that sent him from Tampa to Minnesota, and Garza and Bartlett the other way. And yes, Bartlett and Garza have been good, but sometimes you have to wait a few years before you start to judge trades and judge how it works for one team or the other team.
Got an eyeful of Garza on that last road trip with a no-hitter he threw. Here's a ground ball left side. Inge will gobble it up, and that will finally end the inning. It took a while to get through it. They get 1 run on Galarraga. Will go to the bottom of the 4th. Prior to the Rays, which team was the last to be no-hit twice in one season? The Rays are almost no-hit 3 times in a season. They avoided it yesterday. Brayton and Jackson did it to them.
Joe Madden said no disrespect to the 2 guys that were able to complete the no-hitters against them, but he said that stuff that the young boy had yesterday, Brandon Morrow, was legitimate no-hitter stuff.
Yeah, a lot of people were saying that. I mean, when you strike out 17 in a game, you got something working.
He had that wipeout slider. It's about 14 of them were swinging misses.
Johnny Peralta, Brandon Inge, Jeff Frazier here in the 4th inning. Tigers down by 2. It was Longoria whose base hit off the glove of the second baseman broke it up in the 9th with 2 outs.
Those 2 were drafted the same year. Longoria a couple of slots ahead of Brandon Morrow.
You know, it's getting to the point where no-hitters are like Tommy John surgeries. It's like ho-hum. They're no big deal anymore. It seems like you get a lot of them. Nice bounce to the shortstop, and Bartlett throws him out. Peralta's gone.
If you look around baseball, the numbers for pitchers this year, all across the board, are down. This has clearly been the year of the pitcher.
Well, there have been a few, but there also have been a lot of near misses, too. And we know about Galarraga's, but here are the ones that have been thrown.
Jimenez walked 6. Jackson walked 6. Perfect games by Halladay and Braden. Garza walked 1 on the 26th of July against the Tigers.
Brandon Inge, the batter. He struck out back in the second. Flies one deep to right field. Joyce going back to the wall to make the catch. 2 outs. Brandon looking back over his shoulder, hit that ball well.
Pretty good swing by Brandon. It's a fastball that's a hair off the plate, but as we said with Price, throwing in the mid-90s, all you have to do is touch it, and you've got a chance at the ball traveling out of here.
Here's Frazier with 2 outs. Tigers' only run came to the second on the RBI double by Laird, and a couple of walks in that frame set up the run. Spun that one way outside. Frazier, a strikeout victim on a fastball back in the second.
Price has had some good breaking balls today, but by and large, he hasn't had a good feel for that pitch. And the Tigers continue to pile up that pitch count.
There's a strike to the heart of the plate, 2-1.
His average has started to creep down a little bit as far as the fastballs are concerned, 84%.
Back up the middle into center, base hit. Frazier is aboard with 2 outs. Tigers have their 3rd hit of the game. It's going to bring up Laird. Laird had a 2-base hit to left center field, knocking home Guillen back in the second. 17th RBI of the year for Gerald. I mentioned that Price pitched his college ball at Vanderbilt. He is the all-time strikeout leader in Vandy's program history. In fact, back in 2007, it was his Vandy team that knocked out Michigan in the tournament, and they were number 1 in the nation at that time. Vandy was 2-0. Quite a career in Nashville. (3-0). Jackson, the top of the order, waiting on deck. First of 3 between these two teams. Rays trying to snap a losing streak that has reached 5 in a row. And there's another walk. Put 2 aboard. Looking like an easy inning for Price, but now the Tigers have the tying runs on.
His fastball has been explosive, but the command with the fastball has not been all that good today for Price.
That's his 4th base on balls. He has struck out Jackson twice. And he takes low.
Austin Jackson not afraid to take a base hit the opposite way. And that's exactly what you might have to do against a guy like Price that throws as hard as he does, unless he hangs you a breaking ball. 40 hits the opposite way for Jackson. And that's really how you hit 300. 49 up the middle, 37 to left.
One ball, one strike. Price's season high is 5 walks. He did that on June 9th against the Toronto Blue Jays. He has 4 here tonight.
Blue Jays will cause you to walk a few. They got some power.
Fouled off. The Blue Jays are 7 over 500. They're 10.5 games back in the East.
Leading the planet in home runs, too.
One and two on Jackson. That'll be driven foul down the right field line. 1 and 2, the count stays. 3 Tigers hits in this one. A single by Rayburn, a double by Laird, and a single by Frazier here in the 4th. Frazier got it started with a 2-out hit and then the walk to the number 9 hitter Laird. Missed it high. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Outside again. 3 and 2. So again, Price having trouble putting away the Tigers hitters. He gets ahead and now falls behind. Santiago waiting his turn on deck. Three and 2 on Austin Jackson. This will mean the runners will be going. And a fly ball in the air to center. Should get him out of the inning. Upton is there to retire the side. No runs, a single, a walk. 2 men left. Inning. 3-1 in favor of Tampa Bay. It'll be Jaso, Zobrist, and Crawford here in the 5th. A couple of hits tonight for Jaso, single and a double. And Galarraga misses outside, 1-0. 3 runs, 4 hits for Tampa Bay. The Tigers run on 3 hits. Jaso came in 3 for 16 this month, but he has 2 hits tonight. Very selective hitter. Walks a whole lot more than he strikes out. 41 base on balls compared to just 25 strikeouts this year. The 2-1. It's popped up right side of the infield. Looks like they'll finally get Jaso, and Guillen hauls it in, 1 away. It's going to bring up Ben Zobrist. Zobrist has an RBI with a sacrifice fly back in the 3rd. Big swing, 0-1. One ball and 1 strike on Zobrist, who is having not nearly the season that he was having last year when he hit those 27 home runs. As Joe Madden likes to refer to him, the super utility player. He's playing second base in the game tonight. Matt had something interesting to say about Zobrist and his role on this team. He said that a lot of times players are conditioned to think that if you play a lot of different positions, you're tagged as a utility guy and you're not really considered a starter. Zobrist plays a lot of different positions, but he's out there every night.
He was a utility guy until last year, when Madden really just gave him a chance to play every day.
He really took advantage of it.
Yes, he did.
The 1-2 pitch is outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Zobrist played some college ball at Dallas Baptist University. Here's the 2-2. A little bit away. 3-2. Carl Crawford waiting his turn on deck. The 3-2 pitch is a walk. 1 out, base on balls. Here's the AT&T trivia question. Prior to the Rays, which team was the last to be no-hit twice in a season? And the answer is the 2001 San Diego Padres. A.J. Burnett and Bud Smith no-hit the Pods that year.
Bud Smith.
Haven't heard that name in a while.
He was a Cardinal, wasn't he?
Was he with the Mets?
He was one of those teams. I don't know why I'm thinking St. Louis.
Bud Smith. I'm thinking Atlanta. I might be wrong. We're going to have to look that up. I'll bet he played for a few teams.
No hitter, he's a St. Louis, though.
You are correct, sir. Look at you, man. He was only with St. Louis.
Was he?
Yeah. 01 and 02. I made him an Atlanta Brave for no reason at all.
And a Met.
Okay, you didn't have to remind people. I'm thinking of Pete Smith maybe for the Mets. Did he pitch for the Mets?
I don't know. I can't help you there.
Let's just stop right here.
There's a lot of Smiths around the game. It's a common name.
2-1 on Crawford.
This guy will be the first position player pulled off the board in the offseason. He's a free agent, and he can change the look of your franchise. Power, average, speed, defense, you name it, he's got it.
Driven to right field. Rayburn is under it. Second out of the inning.
And you cannot underestimate the job that Galarraga's doing. Yes, he's walked a few here today, and he hasn't looked all that sharp. But when there's a runner on first base, they can't steal against him. And this is the best running team in baseball.
Brad Thomas still tuning up. He was throwing in the 4th inning.
As a matter of fact, in that series in Tampa, the Rays stole 9 bases in that series, and they weren't caught once. And you guessed it, I don't think Galarraga started in that series.
That's driven to the gap at left center. Trouble. It's down. Here comes Zobrist rounding third. They'll send him home. Throw to the plate is not in time. It's an RBI for Evan Longoria. A double to make it 4-1. Second hit of the game for Longoria. 5 hits on the board now for Tampa Bay.
Looked like he got a fastball that really didn't do a whole lot. It was right around the belt buckle. It was tailing right into his happy zone. And Jackson got there and got around it. But Zobrist, with real good speed, able to score from first.
So Longoria gets his 71st RBI of the year. And here is Willie Ibar. He cuts and misses 0-1. So that walk comes around to score. 2 of the walks tonight have scored for Galarraga or against him. And now a 3-run lead. In fact, the Rays have scored at least one in each of the last 3 innings. The 0-1 pulled to the second baseman Guillen, and that will end the inning. So they get another run. In the meantime, we remind you you're watching Tigers baseball tonight, presented by Bell Tire. Broadcast on AFN, the American Forces Network, broadcasting to the U.S. Armed Forces serving in 175 countries and aboard ships at sea. They're watching around the world in Iraq, Germany, Italy, Southwest Asia, South Korea, and Japan. We welcome you all on AFN. Tigers have some work to do now. They're down 4-1 as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. David Price back to work, facing Santiago Rayburn and Miguel Cabrera. Tipped into the glove for strike 2. 0-2 on Santiago. 0 for 2 tonight for Ramon. A strikeout and a fly ball. And Price's 0-2 pitch is slapped foul down the right field line. So Price here in the 5th inning is likely to get to the 100 plateau in pitches thrown. That's how many he has needed to get through the first 4 innings. A couple of these innings have been a struggle for him. 1-2.
His balls to strikes ratio is not very good either. Not very good at all. 93 total pitches, 41 have missed the strike zone.
The 1-2. Well, there's another one that missed. 2 and 2.
But really, in the important column, it's that runs column. The Tigers only have one of those that came back in the second inning.
And that's back up the middle into center field. Bartlett, a diving attempt, couldn't get there. Santiago leads it off here in the 5th inning with a single. 4 Tigers hits.
And pretty nice job of hitting here by Santiago. It's a fastball on the outer edge and a little table setter right back up the box. Great effort by Bartlett, their shortstop.
Here's Ryan Rayburn. Single and a fly ball.
One of the few changeups Price has thrown here today at 84 miles an hour.
Quickly 0-2 on Ryan. Rayburn has hit safely in 9 of his last 12. He's hit 3 home runs this year. The first one he hit was against Washington. Here's the 0-2. Price tried to hit the inside corner, couldn't do it. And the 1-2 pitch. In the dirt, Santiago tries to move up, and he is safe at second base.
Mike Everett, he wanted to pull that right hand up. He hesitated, and he almost pulled it up before giving Santiago the safe call. It's a gamble here, but Santiago takes off after the ball hits the dirt. Jaso jumps on it, pushes Rayburn out of the way, and fires a strike to second in. He almost got Santiago. Take a look at the umpire, though, afterwards. He wanted to ring him up.
Jaso made that a lot closer than I thought it would be. And it is just off the plate. 3-2 now on Rayburn. David Price either wasn't happy with that last pitch or not happy with himself. That was a very close pitch to make it 3-2. It was also his 100th pitch. Driven to center field, base hit. Santiago coming to third and beyond. He will come around to score, and Rayburn comes through. RBI single to make it a 4-2 ball game.
One thing about Price, when he's on the mound, especially in that count, you can take all the guesswork out of it. You're going to get a fastball. It's going to be a four-seam fastball, and it's probably going to be up because that's where he's missed all day long. And Santiago with a real nice break off second. B.J. Upton in center field wisely threw that ball to second base to make sure he kept the double play in order.
28th RBI of the year for Rayburn. First 2 reach. The wild pitch turns out to be big, and it's a 4-2 ball game as Jim Hickey makes a visit out to the mound. They have some action in their bullpen now as Price's pitch count continues to elevate. Chad Qualls is warming up.
122 pitches is the most that he has thrown this year. He threw 119, excuse me, his last time out against the Minnesota Twins. Did Price. So he's got something left in his tank.
Here's Cabrera. He's the tying run at the plate. Fouled away. Cabrera, a ground out and a walk in this game. Each team now with 5 hits. Ball outside, 1-1.
Ugh. And Cabrera, one of the more dangerous bats in all of baseball, in the top 3 in the American League in batting average, RBIs, home runs, on base percentage, and slugging percentage.
Swing and a miss, and he strikes out Miguel Cabrera. That's 7 strikeouts for Price. First out of the inning. Here's Guillen. Wave and a miss. He is still throwing hard here, really hard.
Well, Jim Hickey, the pitching coach, made a visit before that Cabrera at bat, and he probably told David, you know what? If you want this win, you better get busy and start to throw some strikes. And since then, the majority of his pitches have been strikes. That last one at 99 miles an hour.
And again, he's trying to win his 15th of the year, which would establish a single season record for the Rays. Tampa's been a really good road team this year, 33-21. One and two. He has been upper 90s all day long, really, from the first inning all the way through here in the 5th. Carlos waiting on a 1-2.
Well, what Price is he's a Verlander from the left side.
Yep, good analogy.
We've watched Verlander on many nights just overpower the opposition with real good fastballs, and Verlander has great secondary pitches to go with it. When once Price figures that out, it's going to be good. These guys are freaks of nature, guys that can throw as hard as they can throw, 99, 100 miles an hour, and do it 25, 30 starts a year. And they've been doing it since they were 7 years old.
2-2. Fouled straight back. Tigers have 5 hits in this game, 2 of them coming here in the 5th. The RBI single by Rayburn has made it 4-2. They continue to work Price, who has now thrown 111 pitches. He needs to get through this 5th inning if he wants to even qualify for a victory tonight. Swing and a miss, and he finally dusts off Guillen. They get 8 strikeouts.
Hey fans, as soon as the game ends, our coverage continues with Tigers Live. You'll hear from the manager, Jim Leland, and the players. Plus, we'll break down the game and show you all the highlights. Tigers Live from the Coliseum Studios immediately after the game here on Fox Sports Detroit. We're still looking for some of them highlights.
Maybe we'll get one right here. Peralta stands in. He's 0 for 1 with a walk.
I have a feeling our highlights are going to come once Price leaves this game. And we'll have 12 outs against that bullpen. Although it's a good bullpen, it's not at full strength right now. Grant Balfour, their very good 7th inning man, is on the disabled list. So they're not at full strength in that bullpen. And I guarantee you there's nobody in that bullpen like David Price.
No. Price is ahead of Peralta 0-2. Johnny's had a lot of success against these Tampa Bay Rays, trying to come through with a 2-out hit here. And the 0-2. Swing and a miss. He just threw it right by him at 100 miles an hour. He strikes out the side after a pair of hits. 4-2 ball game at the end of 5. And by your Detroit area Volkswagen dealers. Visit DetroitVWDealers.com. So we go to the 6th inning here at Comerica Park. It is a 2-run game now as Brad Thomas will take over. He's out of the bullpen in a wall-side windows pitching change.
Brad comes in with 4 wins and 1 loss. He has 19 strikeouts in 48 innings. However, he has walked 24, and that was pretty much Galarraga's issue here today. He walked too many.
And Dan Johnson will lead it off. It'll be Johnson, Joyce, and Upton. 6, 7, 8 in Joe Madden's lineup. Galarraga goes 5, gives up 5 hits, 4 runs. Johnson swings on the first and rolls it foul.
I like this move by Jim, putting the left-hander in with the left-handed Johnson up, followed by Joyce, and then B.J. Upton. You got to try to manage the score. You're only down by 2, and you know sooner or later you're going to get into that Rays bullpen. I don't know if Price is done or not, but he's close to being done.
Johnson in this game, a ground out and a walk. The 0-1 pitch. Make it 0-2. Johnson began his career with the Oakland Athletics. In fact, spent 4 years in the big leagues, or parts of 4 years with the Athletics. They called him up on Thursday from the AAA team in Durham. Here's the 0-2.
It's a nice block here by Gerald. And when you call for that breaking ball, you know you've got to get down to block it, especially with 2 strikes.
Inside and high, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, you got Brad Thomas, who pitched overseas in Korea in the Korean Baseball League, and you have Dan Johnson, who played in Japan last year. And both back in the big leagues. Thomas originally got to the big leagues with Minnesota, Johnson with Oakland. So it goes 3-2 now on Dan Johnson. Matt Joyce waiting on deck. And another big night, homer and 2 RBIs. Fouled away. Jim Leland's crew managing 2 runs on 5 hits so far against a Tampa team that has been struggling, having lost 5 in a row coming in. Lifted toward left field, hit pretty good. Frazier is on the move. He'll have room. And Johnson is out, 1 away. Time for a game break. We go to the studio. Here's Ryan Field. All right, thanks very much, Ryan. Here it is 4-2 Tampa. They got a couple of runs in the 3rd, 1 in the 4th, 1 in the 5th. Joyce has been responsible for 2 of those. The show's bunt. And that was used to acquire Edwin Jackson in a trade before last season. Jackson pitched well for the Tigers and then was dealt off in the offseason to Arizona. Joyce sends another one high but foul this time down the right field line. 1-1. The trade wasn't all that bad for Joyce. He returned home. He is a Tampa native.
Turned out to be a nice deal for the Tigers as well, because they spun Jackson and Granderson for Koch and Scherzer and Jackson.
We've had about 3/4 of a season now to kind of judge that trade, and so far all of those pieces have been very good for Detroit. The 1-1. 2 balls and 1 strike.
I thought Grandy would perform better than he has performed in New York.
I did too.
It's a tough place to play. There's no debate about that. But I thought Grandy would perform better than what he's done.
The 2-1. Make it 2-2 now on Matt Joyce.
I know Curtis missed some time with a pulled quadricep. He didn't even play in the series here at Comerica Park. So that may have slowed him a little bit. But Curtis's numbers are down from years in the past.
Tigers in the meantime got a younger player in Jackson who should develop into a real keeper. He already is. The 2-2 pitch is outside, 3-2.
We thought Granderson was a keeper too now.
True. Actually, he was a keeper, but Tigers got a little bit younger. B.J. Upton waiting on deck. That is popped up. Shallow left field. Frazier coming in. Still coming, and there are 2 gone. A couple of fly balls to left, and that'll bring up Upton. Upton is 0 for 2, strikeout and a fly ball. Made him move his feet, skips out of the box.
From a skill set standpoint, B.J. Upton is one of the most talented players in the game of baseball. Plus runner, great defender, good arm, power, and speed. But he checks in at 231 with 10 home runs and 41 driven in. His postseason a couple of years ago, it looked like he was ready to emerge as a star in the big leagues. I mean, an absolute star. He showed out in the postseason.
Fouled straight back. Well, he comes from a terrific family, a terrifically athletic family that has produced some big league players. Brother Justin Upton.
That area they come from, too, has produced a lot of good players. So they played against real good talent as kids.
Little number right back to the mound. And Thomas is going to have himself a 1-2-3 inning. So nice job out of the bullpen for Brad Thomas. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th inning. It'll be Inge, Frazier, and Laird coming up.
base. He tags up on a shallow fly ball to left field. Frazier comes up. He fires a strike to home plate, and he's able to throw him out. Real nice play by Frazier. Nice catch. Nice block by Gerald Laird. Coors Light Freeze Cam is always brought to you by your Frost Brewed Coors Light.
So we go now to the bottom of the 6th inning. Frazier doing his share tonight with that great throw. He also has a hit. Chad Qualls will come out of the bullpen now for the Rays. Acquired from Arizona back on July 31st.
His numbers weren't very good in Arizona, which was one of the reasons why he was able to be acquired by the Tampa Bay Rays. And he's off to a little bit of a sluggish start. Just 3 innings, but the earned run average is 9 for Qualls.
Inge, Frazier, and Laird here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Tigers trail it by 2.
Qualls is going to be asked to get some of those valuable outs that Grant Balfour was getting for Joe Madden in the 7th inning.
Balfour placed on the disabled list. A left intercostal strain. What is an intercostal strain?
I don't have one of those. If the athletes got them, I don't have one.
Whatever it is, he strained it. He's on the DL.
But tell him how he strained it, though.
Balfour?
Yeah.
The 0-1 is a strike called 0-2.
Roughhousing with the pitching coach.
Well, yeah, Jim Hickey and he were kind of messing around.
Yeah.
And now he's on the DL. We've seen some weird stuff. The Kendry Morales thing this year.
Yes.
Here's the 0-2. Swing and a miss. Inge tried to hold up, and Jaso throws him out.
Well, let's take a look at David Price, the youngster who overpowered the Tigers with some good fastballs, although they got his pitch count up and got him out of the game. He struck out the side in the 5th with overpowering fastballs. The last fastball to Peralta was 100 miles an hour. It's a 4-seam fastball. You can see it coming off its fingertips, and it's explosive. Really good looking young prospect. 5 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 4 walks, 9 strikeouts.
So Bosch will pinch hit now for Frazier, and he cuts and misses. Tampa pitching tonight has 10 strikeouts.
They must be a little angry because they punched out 17 times, did the Tampa Bay Rays yesterday in Toronto against the Blue Jays pitching staff.
They're on the other end of it tonight. Little tapper back to the mound. Qualls has an easy play. 2 gone. Well, time now for the Haynes comfort zone. The Rays bullpen has been in the comfort zone. They lead the American League with 37 saves and an opponent's batting average of only .231. And when Joe Madden calls upon his bullpen, he has certainly been in the comfort zone. Here's Gerald Laird with 2 outs. Driven to left field, base hit. Good for Gerald tonight. He has 2 hits and a walk. 2-out single. So here's Jackson. He's 0 for 3, a couple of strikeouts and a fly ball. That is the 6th Tigers hit in this game, 1 more than Tampa has. Ball down low, 1-0.
Qualls had 24 saves last year out of that bullpen for the Diamondbacks. His earned run average was 3.63. So he did nice work. 45 strikeouts in 52 innings, but he kind of fell out of favor this year and not performing all that well out of that bullpen.
He also pitched under Jim Hickey for a couple of years with the Houston Astros, so Hickey is very familiar with him.
Good point.
That may have had something to do with the Rays acquiring him. A little familiarity there with the pitching coach.
He was on that Astros team in 05. They went to the World Series and pitched well that year.
2-1. That was the year the White Sox won.
Yep.
Jackson trying to keep it going here. Austin looking for his first hit of the night. He has 126 hits as we play here tonight, which puts him on pace for just about 184.
He should get a good fastball to hit right here. 2 balls and 1 strike.
And it missed. The fastball was away. 3-1.
Chad Qualls looks like he's got an old-timer's glove. It is small.
It really is.
That's a little bitty glove. Second baseman usually use the smallest glove on the field.
3-1 pitch on the ground to the shortstop. Bartlett will get the force to retire the side. Jackson is 0 for 4 tonight. It'll be Bartlett, Jaso, Zobrist coming up. Snapped a 20-game losing streak with a 7-1 victory over Ty Cobb and the Tigers. Visit farmers.com to hear real true stories from Farmers customers. Farmers Insurance. Ready feels good. There's a statue of Tyrus Raymond Cobb here at Comerica Park. Tigers looking for a comeback here tonight as we go to the 7th inning. And another nice crowd here. Better than 23,000 fans in attendance tonight. Ryan Rayburn, by the way, is the new left fielder. He switches from right to left. Bosch stays in the game in right field. Jason Bartlett leads it on. And the first pitch is up high from Brad Thomas. Bartlett, Jaso, and Zobrist. The 1-0 pitch. Looper into right center field. It's going to drop. Base hit right in front of Brennan Bosch.
Hey fans, follow the Tigers on your iPhone, iPod Touch, BlackBerry, and Android phones with the MLB.com at Bat 2010 featuring play-by-play, video highlights, and live audio broadcasts. Visit Tigers.com today for more details.
Here's Jaso. Inge creeping in on the grass at third base. That hit by Bartlett is the 6th of the night for the Rays. Each team now with 6 hits. Jaso has a couple of them, a double and a single. And he shows bunt, drags it right back to the mound. Thomas going to have a chance at the runner at second base and gets him easily. The force on Bartlett. The fact that was bunted so sharply, you thought he might have a chance at a double play.
It's a nice play here by Thomas, who had to kind of wait for Peralta to get there and then kind of threw into the runner, which meant Peralta was not going to get a throw off toward first base. A good throw, they probably could have gotten to.
That'll bring up Zobrist. Jaso draws the throw. We're talking about the Rays and all the #1 picks they have had and how they've really turned their organization around as Robbie Weinhardt begins to throw. This is a Tampa organization that went the first 10 years of their existence finishing in last place every year, with the exception of 2004 when they finished 4th out of 5th, or out of 5, I should say. And they really could never get it going. They only won 70 games once in their first 10 years, but the last 3 years have been a whole lot different. Joe Madden has done a nice job in helping turn this organization around. They've won 97 games in 08. On their way to the World Series.
By and large, they get it done with pitching. They've got some talented offensive players as well, but they've got some really nice arms.
And that's no coincidence.
In their rotation.
Phil Koch has joined Weinhardt.
Really, if you look across the board at all the teams that are in the playoff hunt this year, they all have real good pitching. The White Sox, Cincinnati Reds, the Yankees, to name a few. Texas Rangers. They've all got really good pitching. Big Game James wasn't so big the other day. They roughed him up in Toronto. I think he gave up 6 home runs in that game. Ooh. Oh, yeah, they got him pretty good.
Doesn't surprise anybody with that Toronto offense. 2-2.
I believe it was a major league record. 6 home runs surrendered by one pitcher in a game.
The Rays in their first 10 years lost 100 games or more 3 separate times. They were in the 90s every other year in the loss column. The 2-2. So they took their lumps the first decade of their existence.
Well, they ought to be the model organization then, because there's been some other teams that have been poor in the last decade that have had high round draft choices that have not been able to turn the corner like the Rays have. So their scouting department deserves a lot of credit.
Absolutely. And that's the point we always seem to make with all those last place finishes and high round choices. They selected the correct people.
And they also selected the right manager. Joe Madden interviewed for the Boston Red Sox job before that job went to Terry Francona before the 04 season. He was the runner-up for that job, as a matter of fact. Boston obviously made a really wise choice.
Three-two pitch. Fouled away again. I would imagine that all of those years that Madden stood behind or beside Mike Scioscia in Anaheim certainly helped his cause in getting a big league managing job. Scioscia has had a lot of success in the big leagues.
A lot of what Madden does is a lot of what Tampa liked, and it's a lot what Boston liked too. He can maneuver his way around that computer.
Yes, he can.
Yeah, he can.
That's popped up. Foul ground. Laird for the out.
And it's no coincidence that Boston Red Sox went after him the way that they did, and they almost gave him that job. Not that he's not a good baseball man, and you bring up a great point. He sits next to Scioscia, but, you know, most guys his age don't handle that computer that well.
That's true.
I mean, it's just kind of foreign to most of us. You know, some of us had typewriters.
Skipper doesn't turn his on all day.
You know, and this guy's sharp. I mean, he's sharp.
So here's Crawford now with 2 outs. Carl Crawford 0 for 3 that held him in check. 297 average. It's the first time his average has dipped below 300 since June 18th.
Got a new bat. Did he break his last one last time up? Or he didn't like it?
This one's shiny.
Yes, it is.
Swing and a miss.
Crawford already has 400 stolen bases and 99 triples. When he gets that next triple, he will join Ty Cobb as the only players in modern era history with 400 steals and 100 triples before the 29th birthday.
One on Carl.
That is special company anytime you get mentioned in the same breath as Ty Cobb, and you're the only one.
Well, that's just it. Yeah, there's nobody else. Just him and Cobb. Way inside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And that's why many believe he will be the the premier free agent pulled off the board next offseason. Cliff Lee will be the first pitcher pulled off. Austin Jackson has 7 triples. He is among the league leaguers, along with Crawford and a few other people.
Denard Span in that trio. The 1-1. 2 balls, 1 strike on Carl Crawford. Seems like Cliff Lee throws a complete game every single night he goes out there.
Texas is going to get their money's worth.
Oh, aren't they, though? Because they know at the end of the year
they are going to get their money's worth out of him.
The 2-1 pitch. Foul back out of play.
They gave up 6 players for him. They're going to get their money's worth.
Run out there another inning there, young man. Keep going.
It's like the Milwaukee Brewers did back in 08, I believe it was, when they got into the postseason for the very first time with CC Sabathia.
Yeah.
They pitched him on 3 days rest the last 3 starts of the year. And they needed all of those wins just to get into the postseason that year.
Jaso, the runner at first base. Crawford cuts and misses, and Brad Thomas has himself 2 scoreless innings in relief. Just what the skipper needed, the strikeout of Crawford. And we'll go to the bottom of the 7th. Hey, fans, if you hadn't heard, Mr. Mike Ilitch today announced, in fact, Chris Ilitch did as well, that they have interest in buying the Detroit Pistons. And the official word from Mr. Ilitch was, we believe we could bring a lot to the table to be tremendously positive for the Pistons franchise, the NBA, and the fans of the community. So Today, they formally notified the Pistons that they have interest in purchasing the team.
Well, there's no doubt if they were able to pull that off, that Mr. Ilitch would be a tremendous owner. We have watched what he's been able to do with the Red Wings and, of course, with our Tigers here.
Boy, what a development that would be. The Ilitches, if they could secure the Pistons, they would ensure that the Pistons would stay right here in Detroit where they belong.
And that's exactly what Mr. Ilitch said. He said he read where there was a chance that there would be an outside buyer that would possibly move the Pistons out of Detroit. He said with the great fans here in the Motor City, he couldn't allow that to happen.
Well, we wish the Ilitches well in that venture. And we'll keep our eyes on it. Santiago leading off here in the bottom of the 7th. Santiago, Rayburn, and Cabrera.
That's kind of unheard of, though, the same owner owning 3 different franchises, isn't it?
I haven't heard of it, to be honest with you. There are any out there. Joaquin Benoit warming up. Three 3-0 on Santiago. And there is ball 4. Leadoff man is on. Joe Madden feeling a little bit less comfortable right now with the tying run coming to the plate.
Well, Joe Madden's trying to get one more inning out of Qualls because he knows his back end of his bullpen is tremendous in Benoit and Soriano. Soriano leads the American League with 31 saves. And Benoit, whew, what a year he has had as their setup guy.
Driven to right field. Joyce to the corner to make the catch. Rayburn is out, 1 gone. Both teams with 6 hits here tonight, with the Rays have a 4-2 lead.
I'm being told that there's been a couple of other owners that have owned 3 teams. Ted Turner owned the Braves, the Hawks, and the Thrashers.
Really?
And also Wayne Huizinga.
Oh, okay.
Florida Marlins and the Miami Dolphins. And I don't know what the 3rd team was that Wayne owned.
But he owned 3?
Yeah.
Well, so there's 2. It doesn't happen very often.
No, it doesn't.
Jim Hickey is out.
Brian Field, as a matter of fact, gave me that information on Ted Turner. He is in the Call Sam's studio, so I guess they do listen in the studio.
It's not like they go to sleep between updates or anything.
No. Got a couple innings to nod off.
That's true. But they're pros. Here's Cabrera. Well, one mighty swing of the bat here could tie this game up.
It's been a slow homestand for the big fella, too. And he really has been slowed down here by the White Sox on the front end of this trip. Homestand, I should say.
Cabrera on the homestand, including tonight, is 4 for 22. However, he has walked quite a bit. Another walk in this game tonight. He pops it up foul, back out of play. They have walked Cabrera 20 times in the last 25 games.
Get used to it, especially playing against the teams that we're playing against. The Rays, the Yankees, the White Sox, some of the teams we'll see here coming up. They're not going to let Cabrera beat them.
Here's the 0-2. Swing and a miss. So Miguel is out of there. He fans for the 2nd time tonight. That's a total of 11 strikeouts for Tampa pitching. Of course, the majority of those from David Price. It's going to leave it up to Guillen here in the 7th. Carlos fanned twice and walked and scored, and Joe Madden trekking out to the mound. He'll make a change. So that's going to be it for Qualls.
Qualls did nice work.
Joaquin Benoit appears to be ready to go, and he will be summoned from the bullpen. 4-2 is our score. We'll be back. Player of the game tonight, Gerald Laird is having a nice game. He has 28% of the vote. Miguel Cabrera 14%, and Brandon Inge with 9%. You can still vote, and we'll have the final results during Tigers Live after this one is done. So Joaquin Benoit comes on now out of the bullpen for the Tampa Bay Rays.
And Joaquin probably has been the best setup man in all of baseball this year. 41 games, 15 holds, outstanding earned run average. Look at the strikeouts to the 39 in the third innings, and the opponent's batting average is 136. This guy has been lights out.
And he will try and get Guillen here with 2 outs as the tying run at the plate.
Joe Madden didn't quite trust Chad Qualls against Carlos Guillen. He wanted a couple extra miles on that fastball.
95 on the first fastball from Benoit.
Qualls was anywhere from 90 to 92, and Joe Madden didn't like that matchup. He likes this matchup better.
And he popped him up. Left side of the infield should get him out of the inning. And Longoria makes the play to retire the side. You're watching Tigers baseball tonight on Fox Sports Detroit, presented by Bell Tire. The 8th inning, Gerald Laird with a 2-for-2 night tonight, double walk RBI. Evan Longoria has a couple of hits, including an RBI. David Price only went 5 innings, but in his 5 innings, he struck out 9 tonight. Meanwhile, the Tigers go to the bullpen. It's Phil Koch coming in.
Koch having an outstanding year for the Tigers, pitching in his 53rd game. He had 6 wins against 2 losses. His fastball anywhere from 92 to 95. He's got a real nice slider and an occasional changeup.
And the Rays will lead it off with Evan Longoria. Longoria, Ibar, Johnson facing the left-hander. Phil Koch replaces Brad Thomas, who went 2 scoreless innings tonight for Detroit out of the bullpen. Longoria doubled in a run in the 5th. That made it a 4-1 game at that point. It is now 4-2. Ball 1 from Koch. Each team with 6 hits in this game. Tigers trail by 2. Longoria cuts and misses.
Nice pitch. Changeup at 86 miles an hour. It's a nice fade to it. That's a big league pitch.
1-2 on Longoria.
Longoria kind of stands like Alex Rodriguez in the batter's box. Straight up and down. Their bats kind of rest comfortably on that top shoulder, ever so slightly bouncing it, but most guys have a little bit of bend in their knees, but he's pretty much straight up and down. Looks just like A-Rod. They both wear number 3, as a matter of fact.
High fly ball right field. Routine for Bosch. Longoria is out, 1 away. It's going to bring up Willie Ibar. Phil Cook really hadn't been used a whole lot since the All-Star break.
We haven't been ahead that much. It's been a rough go for a couple of weeks. We're really better than a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Coming out of the break, of course, the Tigers were swept in Cleveland. That kind of set the tone for the second half. Then the injuries happened.
Tigers were a half a game out of first place when they resumed play in Cleveland that Friday.
And tonight they came into play trailing Chicago by 9 games. Minnesota was a half out.
Those two teams lock up for a 3-game series starting tomorrow in Chicago.
Two and one on Ibar. Driven well to left center field. This ball is tagged, and that ball is 1 hop over the wall. It is a ground rule double for Willie Ibar.
That's one thing about the big leagues. It's hard to throw straight fastballs by big league hitters, and fastball counts. And Willie Ibar got a fastball at 95 miles an hour right down the middle, and he drilled it. You put a hitter in this predictable count, they kick that leg up, they get it back down, and they just somehow seem to hit it hard somewhere.
Sean Rodriguez will hit for Johnson. Johnson was 0 for 2 with a walk. He'll give way to Rodriguez. And so a big run standing at second base right now. The Tigers down by 2. Galarraga went 5. Thomas went 2. Koch is on here in the 8th. And Robbie Weinhardt still warming up in the Detroit bullpen. Swing and a miss. Ball got away, but not far enough. Ibar not going anywhere.
Rodriguez really hasn't been an everyday player for Joe Madden, but he has grounded into 10 double plays. Number 11 would be great right here.
No balls, 1 strike. He tried to hold up, went around again. 0-2.
Koch's secondary pitches have been located well here in this inning. It's a slider here. You can see the spin on it. It's our Lincoln Mercury Exmo.
Here's the 0-2. Rodriguez takes. It's down low. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, throw it down there again. Still need that ground ball.
Here's the 1-2. And it's fouled back out of play. Sean Rodriguez last year hit 29 home runs at Salt Lake, which is known as a place where the ball will fly a little bit, but 29 homers is 29 homers. Hit 24 the year before that. Splitting time in the big leagues and AAA. One and two on Rodriguez. A one-out double by Ibar. And the 1-2. Got him, strike three. Tim McClellan finally called him out.
96 miles an hour with this fastball. And according to Fox Tracks, it was good.
Rick Knapp coming out of the dugout now. They want to talk about Matt Joyce here.
Hey, Tigers fans, this season it's easier than ever to find the seats you want or to sell the tickets to the games that you just can't make. On StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Detroit Tigers, go to StubHub.com and choose your seats today. Well, Matt Joyce has done a lot of damage against the Tigers in the 5 games that he's played against them this year, and Rick Knapp just wanted to make sure that Phil Koch pitched him according to the scouting report that they've gotten on him against left-handed pitchers.
Joyce 2 more RBIs tonight. He homered against the starter Galarraga. That was back in the 3rd. Joyce was 0 for 10 in the series against Toronto. Came in 0 for his last 18, but has 2 RBIs tonight. And Koch missing outside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Joyce hit a grand slam against Scherzer in Tampa in that game when Matt Garza threw the no-hitter. 8 RBIs in 5 games against his former club does Joyce have this year.
Here's the 1-1. 1-2 up to the right hand is McClellan.
A couple of well-located breaking balls from Phil Koch on the outer edges of home plate to Joyce.
Ibar doubled with 1 out. He's still standing there with 2 outs. And a swing and a miss. And Koch strikes out the final 2 hitters. He'll strand that double. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Tigers have 6 hits. The Rays have 7. Johnny tonight has a walk. He is 0 for 2 otherwise. Here's the 0-1. Benoit has been a guy that has pretty much come out of nowhere to do some outstanding work at the back end of their pen, and Joe Madden has much admitted that the last time we were in Tampa. He has had some success at the big league level, but he is having an overpowering season at the back end of their bullpen. I mean, when you're behind only Mariano Rivera, that's pretty good.
Non-roster invitee to spring training this year was Benoit. They caught lightning in a bottle.
Line drive caught on a leap by Longoria. What a play.
He is probably, if not the best third baseman in the American League. He's in that conversation with Adrian Beltre of the Boston Red Sox. Real athletic player. One step and a jump. He was a shortstop in junior college before moving to third base to allow Troy Tulowitzki to play shortstop at Long Beach State.
Peralta probably can't hit one a whole lot harder than that. Here's Inge.
So basically you have a third baseman that has shortstop feet, which is always a good thing. We have one of those. You're looking at him right now, Brandon Inge. Real athletic third baseman.
Here's the 0-1. On a check swing, roll to short. Bartlett throws him out, and there are 2 gone. So that back end of the bullpen for the Rays continues to do the job. Walls came on in the 6th, an inning and 2/3 scoreless, and Benoit trying to get through the 8th.
Joe Madden called Benoit the MVP of their team. You've got a guy in Soriano, their closer, that has 31 steals. You've got Price looking for his 15th win today. You've got Longoria and Crawford on your team from an offensive standpoint. And Joe Madden said this is the MVP of our team.
Pretty high praise. Bosch the batter with 2 outs.
Just goes to show you how valuable those outs that the 8th inning guy gets for you. That gets the ball to your closer.
Here's the 1-0 coming to Bosch. Hit well to left field. Crawford on the run. Turns and it's gone. Bosch with a 2-out solo homer, and it's a 1-run game.
Slow down, young man. It's a home run. Looked like a 4-seam fastball that was down, and Bosch basically dropped the bat head. That ball carried into the Tigers bullpen. Usually teams have been climbing the ladder against Bosch, but Benoit left that ball down. It's the 4th home run Benoit has given up this year.
And for Brendan Bosch, it is his 14th long ball. That makes it 4-3. Johnny Damon pinch hitting now for Gerald Laird. Jim Leland going to his bench. Damon has 7 home runs. He's knocked in 37. One ball, 1 strike on Johnny. A 2-out solo shot by Bosch here in the 8th. Tigers back within 1. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. 1-2 on Damon.
That's what Bosch needs to get back to doing a little bit more of, and that's driving the ball the other way with authority. And when he came up in May and June, he was driving the ball the opposite way with authority and a little bit more regularity as well.
Johnny this year 2 for 6 with a couple of RBIs as a pinch hitter. Two balls, 2 strikes. And the 2-2 off the end of the bat. Barely got a piece of that one. Brennan Bosch with his 14th home run makes it a 4-3 game. Damon trying to keep it alive here in the 8th. And the 2-2 pitch. Fouled it away. Home run was the Tigers' 7th hit. Each team now with 7 hits. Benoit, the former Texas Ranger, trying to get Damon here. And Johnny cuts and misses. He blew him away at the letters with a fastball. Side retired. But the Bosch home run tightens it up. He goes the other way to make it 4-3. Ryan Perry will come on and try and make sure it stays a 1-run game.
And he's got the kind of stuff to do that. That much is for certain. Alex Avila also takes over behind the dish. Gerald Laird was pinch hit for by Johnny Damon.
So Perry will face B.J. Upton to start things off, and that is a fair ball down the third base line. It's going to go to the corner, and Upton will motor to second base, and just like that, the Rays now have a run in scoring position.
He will not stay there very long. He has 10 steals of third base this year, does B.J. Upton, and he's fearless at stealing third base. Inge, no chance at this one. And Upton is just cruising into second base.
Here's the number 9 hitter, Jason Bartlett. They could also ask Bartlett to butt him up.
Well, they can give an out away, but if you got a guy that can steal third, why give it away?
Showing bunt, takes it outside, 1-0. Bartlett in this game, a single, a walk. And a force out. 9 sacrifices this year for Bartlett. And he will drop one down to third. Inge will barehanded. Deanne keeps his foot on the bag. Sacrifice works.
Perfect bunt by Bartlett.
So give him another sacrifice. Number 10, and that brings up the top of the order, John Jaso.
Runner on second base. As a bunter, you want to make the third baseman come in and field it to vacate third base for that base runner. And that's exactly what Bartlett does.
Infield in now. Jaso trying to drive in this insurance run. Single double tonight for Jaso. .271 hitter. He's knocked in 33 this year. Little pop up. This is going to drop in, and that's going to score the run. Jaso with his third hit of the night. Little looper with the drawn in infield, and that makes it a 5-3 game. Well, feel free to join us again tomorrow for the middle game of this series against the Rays. Coverage begins at 6:30 with Tigers Live. It is followed by the game at 7. Tigers baseball presented by Bell Tire tomorrow evening on Fox Sports Detroit and Fox Sports Detroit HD. And there's your pitching matchup tomorrow.
Max Scherzer told me today that his right arm feels great these days. Said about this time last year, he was starting to break down a little bit, starting to get a little tired. He said that is not the case this year. He feels stronger than ever.
Well, that's good news.
Well, he's pitching like it too.
Zobrist the batter. 5-3 ball game. Zobrist has an RBI courtesy of a sacrifice fly. 1-1. Zobrist also has a walk and a run scored. Another strike, 1-2. The Tigers have the top of the order coming up when we get to the bottom of the 9th inning. Perry gave up a double to Upton, the sacrifice by Bartlett, and the single by Jaso, making it once again a 2-run spread. 2-2. Soriano and Cormier warming up for the Rays.
Bobby Ramos hanging out in the bullpen with the boys.
Bobby's a good man.
Great man. Down there clubhouse today, he was talking 100 miles a minute. And I said, man, how much coffee have you had? Slow down.
That's just Bobby.
I'm like, jeez. I said, slow down. I can't understand you.
He was almost a member of the Angels staff and was with Mike Scioscia for a while, and coming over with Joe Madden, who brought a lot of the folks that he was comfortable with.
That's what you do. That's what you do.
And that is right off his foot, and that is not going to feel good. Zobrist hits the deck. 2-2 on Ben Zobrist.
George Hendricks was over there with the Angels as well, wasn't he? When Madden was running the minor leagues. Little slide piece right off the instep. So he's got a bad foot and a bad back.
Two and two the count. Bouncing ball right side, base hit. It'll get through. Jaso will hold at second base, and the Rays now looking for more. They have their 10th hit of the game. To bring up Crawford, the problem now is you get to the middle of the Rays lineup here. 10 hits for Tampa Bay.
Carl Crawford is probably their best hitter with runners in scoring position as well. Close to 400 for CC with traffic on the base paths.
And it gets away right through Avila all the way to the backstop. Both runners move up, and that could prove to be costly.
Would you walk in here? I consider it.
Yep, you got Longoria on deck, I know, but right-handed batter.
Yep. Open base. Play for the double play. He's hitting .390 with runners in scoring position. But it looks like they're going to play the infield in.
You've convinced me.
No, not Jim, no.
They're not. Infield in. 0-1 on Crawford. Bouncing ball, base hit left field. I like your idea better. Another run will score. Crawford comes through again with men in scoring position. Jaso is in, and that makes it 6-3. That's Crawford's 59th RBI. Well, their 3 and 4 have been really good, Crawford and Longoria. Although Longoria has hit the skids a little bit.
They do nice work out of their division against the Central. Both hitting .315. The rest of the team just .226 against the AL Central.
Foul tip. $11 hits now for Tampa. That last one, drilling it. Avila right in the mask. Tim McClellan asking you right now, you okay? Can you go? How you feeling? How many fingers am I holding up? Longoria doubled in a run in the 5th. Also has a single.
Well, that double play still needs to be hit in, and Longoria's hit into 11.
Make it 12. A 5-4-3 double play. But 2 runs in for Tampa Bay. We go to the bottom of the 9th inning, and the Rays now lead 6-3. Last call for the Tigers as we go to the bottom of the 9th inning. It is a 6-3 ball game. The closer is on now for the Tampa Bay Rays, Rafael Soriano.
And Raphael comes in with 31 saves and 33 chances. The ERA obviously is very good. The opponent's batting average is sub 200. He was an all-star this year for Joe Madden in Anaheim.
And he needs to get 3 outs here to break his team's 5-game losing streak. Top of the order coming up. It'll be Jackson, Santiago, and Rayburn. And if somebody reaches, Miguel Cabrera. Jackson is 0 for 4 in this one. 1 for 1 career against Soriano. And Jackson takes strike 1 to start things off in the bottom of the 9th.
And Soriano comes in with 31 saves. David Price, their starter, looking for his 15th win. If they both lead the league in their departments, it will be the first time since 1994 a duo has done that. Andy Pettit won 21 games in '94, and John Wetland saved 43 games that year. So it doesn't happen very often.
They're the save leaders, Soria and Soriano. Fouled away. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Jackson. Austin has to get it going here. Get things started here in the 9th inning. He has struck out twice, flied out, and grounded out. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Got a piece of somebody's equipment, knocking it off of Tim McClellan. Here's the guard.
And now it's Gerald Laird, Avila, giving him a little bit of a breather after Tim got his bell rung. I said Avila. What's the wrong score? That's J-So. I'm looking at him run. I'm saying, he's not running like Avila. That's not Avila.
He's wearing the wrong uniform.
Yeah, that's true.
That's all right. Been there, done that many times.
I seen him wobble out there. No, that's not Avila. Then I'm thinking, well, Laird's gone. Well, who is that?
It's the other team. That would be J-So. 1-2 on Austin Jackson. That's fouled away.
Well, the point was well taken. He was giving McClellan a blow.
Those umpires and catchers, they really take care of each other. Because on any given night, both of them will get pounded by foul tips, wild pitches.
I should know J-So by now. He's got 3 knocks today.
And a big RBI in the 9th. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Jackson fans to start the bottom of the 9th. So the Rays pitching staff piling up the strikeouts now. 13 of them. Here comes Santiago. On base twice tonight, single and a walk. He's also scored a run. Right down the middle it comes for strike 1. Soriano is 30 years old now. He spent a lot of years with Seattle. 2002 through 2006. Last 3 years with the Atlanta Braves. 27 saves last year with Atlanta. Good ERA of 2.97. Here's the 1-1. Toward left field and caught on the line by Crawford. So 2 gone now, and it's going to be up to Rayburn. Rayburn an RBI single that came back in the 5th. Strike one on Ryan. Tigers led early in this one. They got a run in the 2nd inning, but it didn't hold up. They gave up 2 in the 3rd, and the Rays have not trailed since in this one. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Bouncing ball to 3rd should do it. Longoria has it, and the Rays have snapped their 5-game losing streak. David Price gets the win tonight. Soriano gets the save, and the Tigers drop game 1 in this 3-game set against Joe Madden and the Tampa Bay Rays. There's your final score, 6-3. Back with more from Comerica Park right after these messages.